Here we are at Blackwater Falls, located just outside Davis, West Virginia. Located in the heart of the Appalachian Mountains, this is the perfect place for the Blackwater 200 National Dual Sport Ride. It all begins right here at the Blackwater Lodge, which is headquarters for the event. Over 300 riders from all over the country have come to participate in this, the third annual Blackwater 200. As usual, Mark Hyde from American Suzuki is here to handle the riders' meeting and get everybody on their way.
But, okay, now to the course. The very first off the start, you go down to Blackwater Falls. That'll be your first punch check. Nick will be down there to punch you. You got to get that, and that's a little walk there, get you warmed up for the day. From there on, you go up to the railroad beds. It's all pretty easy, no big deal. Also, if some arrows do get torn down, Jeff is out there. He said there'll be a lot of pink ribbon hanging up in the trees. Yeah, I think I got some. Yeah, this stuff right here. So be watching for that. If, he does that and the arrows, and if the arrows get turned down, a lot of people don't think about the ribbon.
See the clean bike he's got? It's not fair.
Although all the riders leave together, the route will immediately split, and road riders, the dual sport riders, will go one way, and the trail riders the other way. Here's a little section of road. Which will lead the dual sport riders down to the first gravel road section, which goes about 16 miles through the woods. Here we get off the paved road onto a side road. We're still very much in Blackwater Falls Park. And here we hit the gravel. Back on the gravel road, you can see that it's a little bit rough, but it's quite easy and fun to ride through a beautiful forest. The trail riders have a little bit further distance to go before they hit the A section. Back on the gravel road, you can see that the terrain is quite varied. Sometimes it's flat, sometimes there are hills, and sometimes you're going along the side of a hill, like here, where it slopes up to one side and drops off on the other. Here you can see a pretty steep drop off. More and more riders at dual sport events are riding two up. And here we are at the end of the gravel road section, and we have our first reset. This means you turn your odometer back to 0. This is so that you can follow the turns on the route with your route card, which we're looking at here. And here we are at the beginning of the A section. A section refers to advanced. This is for serious trail riders only. The custom of splitting the route into two distinct routes, one for dual sport riders and one for trail riders, allows the organizers to lay out a course that provides plenty of trail for the trail riders and yet is easy and fun for the dual sport rider. This A section is about 35 miles long, and part of it is part of the actual course that is used in the Blackwater 100 cross-country race, which is held the week after the 200 trail ride. Here's a fellow that's having a little bit of trouble picking up his bike in an awkward place. And here we come to the beginning of the big rocky hill. Most of the trail was pretty dry, like you see here, even though it had rained very hard on Thursday night before the event. The riders in the advanced section, though, found the mud.
Yeah, we do.
Here's Debbie Kaufman from Louisville, Kentucky.
Get that!
Meanwhile, the dual sport riders are getting a much different route. Here's the view from atop Dolly Sods. After Dolly Sods, the dual sport riders enter an area which we call the Gait Section. This is a public road, but it has about 15 or 20 gates on it that separate the farmers' properties, and they have open cattle grazing. This is a very beautiful and peaceful area. The only inconvenience is that every half a mile or so, you have to stop, open a gate, drive through, and then close the gate again.
How you liking the ride so far?
This is such an easy ride, it's pathetic. We've only covered 24 miles, I'm not even tired yet.
Well, put yourself back in that hole, you'll get tired after a while.
I don't think I want to go back in here. Oh, it's games of fun.
This hill's a lot trickier than it looks, because for one thing, it's steeper than it looks. Videos never seem to show exactly how steep things really are. The Blackwater 200 is one of Mark Hyde's favorite events. Let's listen to what he has to say about
One
it.
of the really neat things about this event, because the scenery, the mountains, and the diversity of the riding that they have in this area, it's really made dual sports a true dual sport ride, or this event's really a true dual sport ride, because you have a lot of the scenic mountain roads, the back dirt roads, the logging roads, and then the trail sections. They have a lot of alternate loops down here, because on the trail you can get into such difficult trail. A lot of guys they aren't up to it, or you're too up, or you don't have the bike to get there, or the tires. So I think this event really is your full dual sport. It covers the whole cycle of dual sporting. Like I said, you got the neat mountain roads, the back roads, and the single track trail that, you know, will challenge anybody. In fact, Dave makes sure he gets them on just a touch of the race course so they get an idea of what we see next week.
How do you feel about riding double on these rides?
A challenge.
It's hard.
What's hard about it?
Hurts your butt.
All right.
And I get the worst thing is I have to sit on the back.
Uh-oh. Thanks.
Come on, hon.
Mommy took us on the road.
That was only one hill that beat you. Don't let it get to you.
It didn't get to me. You had to ride it up.
Yeah, but it's the only one that got you. Yeah. You're doing well. Now we falling too.
How do you like riding these rides?
Love them.
Yeah, good.
This one's a little bit tougher because of the wetness, but it's great. Gives you a workout. Don't have to go to the gym.
How long have you been riding these rides?
These rides, this is my first dual sport ride.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it's a
You're doing
blast.
pretty good too.
Yeah,
Doing
well, I
great.
have my friends with me.
And here we are up on top of Cabin Mountain.
Three guys would go by and they'd get stuck in the middle of the hill and you had to wait 10 more minutes. Boy, I hope you got that. I'll do it again.
Watch this rider. He's very considerate. He stops to let his passenger put her feet back on the foot pegs. There. It's a great feeling to fight your way up a steep hill to enjoy a beautiful view.
You gotta get this on film, don't you?
Right now he wishes he had taken the dual sport route, but he got through.
How do you like riding double on these rides? rides.
I like it.
Do you? What's the hardest part?
When you don't lift yourself up on a bump.
Here we are at the first gas stop. At this point, the dual sport riders and the trail riders have all come back onto the same course. But they'll split again just about a half a mile down the road. Here's the trail section leading up a steep hill. The riders are arriving at one of the checkpoints along the route. This particular one is at the southernmost part of the course called the Sinks of Gandy. Shortly after the Sinks of Gandy, we arrive at lunch. This is also where you'll find the support crews to help people who have maintenance problems with their bikes. Then it's back on the road and back to the finish. It's sunrise on Sunday morning, and we're ready for more action out on the trail. Both the dual sport and trail riders share the same route for about 35 miles. There's an abandoned railroad bed just outside the town of Davis down in the valley. The morning route provides a very nice mix of paved road, gravel road, and very easy trails. Sunday's back roads take us up high in the mountains for some spectacular views.
Nice ride!
A key member of the layout crew for the Blackwater 200 is Jeff Russell, a top national enduro and hare scrambles rider. Jeff tells us how he got involved in the Blackwater 200.
Me and my parents put on cross-country races in Ohio. We have our own race, and that's how I got involved with Dave Coombs and got part of his series and stuff. And I've been working with Dave for the last 3 years now with cross-country races, and then he and Carrie Joe decided to put on the dual sport ride, and I just happened to be available to help him out, and that's how I got involved with it. And my enduro experience with route sheets and setting up courses, and he asked me to help him, and that's how I got involved.
Here we are in the A section. This is the only advanced section on Sunday's route. At the bottom of the long hill, there's a beautiful creek crossing. Getting to ride all these trails is great, but someone had to find them and get permission to use them for the ride. Jeff Russell tells how it was done.
With putting on an event like this, you got so many private landowners once you get away from the valley, and you got a lot of national forest areas which are divided into wilderness and a lot of other divisions, and there's a lot of people that you have to deal with. And luckily, Ron Daniels from Elkin Suzuki, which is familiar with a lot of the private landowners, helped us out a lot. And then there's a guy, Frank Mullinex, who works for the state of West Virginia in this area, and he helped us out a lot with owners and with the people in the forestry and stuff. So that's how we got our in with the forestry and private landowners.
After the advanced section, there's a much appreciated rest stop. You having a good ride?
Oh, yeah. The ultimate dual sporter. Make sure his lights work while he's riding.
Is that what you're working on?
That was excellent, wasn't it?
It's summertime now, you know. You
I
have
may
to
have
get
to
this on
edit out some
down.
of the language.
Here we are back at the lodge for the finish of the 3rd annual Blackwater 200.